Ellie has an intense fear of ending up alone. And it's that fear that I think motivates her to seek revenge and see that justice is done for anybody that she loves. But Joel is the epitome of that. He says to her on the porch, I hope that one day you do a little better than me. And she doesn't. She does worse.
Ellie has finally revealed to Dina the truth about what Joel did, which has seemingly fractured her relationship with Dina, the person that she loves the most.
There was a Firefly base in Salt Lake City, and he killed everyone in the hospital.
I think she's having a similar experience to Ellie when Ellie first found out. I think it's a really cool mirror.
Ellie's gotten to a point where her emotions are scarily close to the surface, and she doesn't have the capacity emotionally to hide from Dina. There's maybe an element of self-sabotage there as well, because she exposes all of her darkness to Dina as a way of being like, surely you can't love me now.
I think it creates this deep void inside of Ellie. We think as an audience it's going to affect Ellie in her later decisions, but then we come to find that she was able to push all of that stuff aside. I think you're really questioning her motives and who she is, and if this is the person we want to be cheering for. Has she gone through too many life experiences that have kind of turned her into this monster, or is she able to push past that and become the better person?
How about we skip the apologies and just go find Tommy so I can get us and my kid the fuck out of Seattle?
My favorite thing to explore in 207 was really Ellie and Jesse's relationship. Jesse's always been one of my favorite characters, but because in the game we focus on the POV of the playable character, we never really got to explore Jesse to the degree that I think he deserves. We're getting to see that there's a maturity to this kid. We're begging Ellie to listen to him, to listen to his wisdom, to listen to how he chooses to love the people he loves. Much like Joel, he is willing to be violent. But unlike Ellie, it's not at any cost.
The way stories naturally move forward is through relationships. How relationships come together or how they fall apart and the conflict between them. Those different values will reveal more of who they are as they make their choices.
In the scene with the Seraphite boy getting tortured by the WLF soldiers, we see two very different sides of Ellie and Jesse. Jesse's in a completely different place. Jesse is fighting for his own life. He's fighting for Dina's life, for his child's life, and he knows, unfortunately, we have to let this boy go. And for Ellie, she's not capable of understanding that, because for her, she was the Seraphite boy. She was the kid that Joel saved.
He doesn't want to get involved because that's them. This isn't our war. Ellie points out to Jesse in a crucial moment that this concept of community is the problem.
Let me tell you about my community. My community was beaten to death in front of me while I was forced to fucking watch.
What Ellie had was Joel, and he was killed. That's who she cares about. And the idea that Jesse thinks he's special or better because he cares about his community is the problem. But of course, all of that is said in justification of her doing something incredibly selfish, which is abandoning Jesse and abandoning Tommy to go find Abby.
When I first read the script, I got to all of the water work. When you're breaking down a script, everything goes just through your mind. Like, are we gonna do it practically? Are we gonna do it in a tank? Are we gonna do it in a dry gimbal? Let me tell you, we did it all.
We had a practical location that we shot the first half of when Ellie sees the soldiers and when she finds a John boat. We had a dry gimbal for Ellie when she's on the boat, and then we also had a water tank.
Suddenly, we're now working with an aquatic team, and so we're putting, everything on barges, lights and cameras, generators, everything has to be able to float to get it where you want to get it.
We've been so lucky on the show because much of the cast is very agile and they're athletic.
Bella Ramsey is such a trooper. Bella is literally sopping wet in this whole entire episode. So on top of being in like boats that are flipping over and going through all of these emotions, every single take, Bella comes with this amazing determination.
We shot at night, me crawling out of the ocean, and with a heavy wetsuit that was getting waterlogged. It was such hard work, but in a way that felt really satisfying.
So originally in the game, something most people don't know, is that we were going to do an entire sequence with Ellie landing on Scar Island. So it was really exciting to get an opportunity to flirt with that again.
We just get to see how chilling it is to be surrounded by everybody that's trying to exact violence, including children that have been taught to hate people outside of their group.
These were the very people that she was trying to defend earlier when the very same thing was happening to one of their kids. And this is the problem with people who have lost any sense of similarity of sin. What we do is justified. What you do is evil.
The village.
Leave her!
The entire universe is telling her, you will die if you keep coming after her. Let Abby go. There is every reason to turn back. Even our most vengeful characters, at a certain point go, I know this isn't good enough, but we have to go home. And Ellie can't.
When this attack is happening somewhere else on this island by Isaac and his crew, it gives Ellie the opening to run away. And what does she do next? She still goes after Abby.
Ellie doesn't find Abby in the aquarium, but she finds Owen and Mel. And there is a confrontation there. Owen dies, and Mel accidentally dies.
There's always a cost to this violence, and sometimes it's an internal cost, but sometimes there's a term that it sounds so cold, which is collateral damage. You know, there's a metaphor here for a lot of violence in the world. What's a metaphor for this collateral damage? It was like, well, that's when innocent people die. Now, Ellie, up until this point, can probably justify everything that she's done. Everybody she killed has been bad. You can't justify killing a child.
That scene in the game is also incredibly brutal and incredibly violent, and that's intentional because we want to show Ellie how far she has fallen. The scene became even more violent when Craig called up and was like, but what if she asks Ellie to cut the baby out of her?
We're gonna take it out. I don't know how to do that. I do.
Even as Mel is trying to give her the instructions on how to save this child, Ellie isn't skilled enough to do it. This is where Ellie finally feels like she maybe has lost any sense of who she is and who she's supposed to be.
In Mel's desperation to protect her own baby, not only do we see Dina, but we also see a selflessness that Ellie is not capable of. This needs to be gut-wrenching, not just for Ellie, but for Jesse and for Tommy. It needs to be so brutal that it is the wake-up call Ellie needs. And yet it isn't.
At some point, who's gonna break the wheel? Which is the essence of our entire story. There's a cycle and there's a wheel of violence and revenge, and who's gonna choose forgiveness and to turn away from it?
This fire Ellie has in her, in some ways, is endearing because she would light the world on fire for her loved ones, but then who's in that flame, who's burning on the other side? It starts to get so gray. Like, who's the villain? Who's the hero? Is there such a thing? Does that exist in this world?
Ellie has a moment with Jesse that I think was really important for us to see. It's forgiveness.
If I were out there somewhere, lost and in trouble, you would set the world on fire to save me.
I would.
What Ellie's confronting is the fundamental injustice of life.
I think as an audience, we want karmic justice to say the bad people should pay the price for what they've done and the good people should live happily ever after. But that's not how the world operates. And the most moral character of this story, Jesse, dies in an instant.
There is a tragedy to the fact that his selflessness, and so many characters' selflessness, is the reason that they end up falling.
I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did to save me. I'm the one that you want.
For Ellie, if we thought she was broken before, now she's completely broken. And if Joel is gone and Jesse's gone, what does she have left? She has this realization, finally, if I give myself up, then maybe Tommy and Dina will be able to live. And I think Ellie needed that redemption.
Ellie is looking at herself. Ellie is looking at Abby and seeing the rage and the pain of, you took somebody I loved. And there is this full circle moment. But now it's too late, and Ellie has to reap what she's sown.
Right when you expect these two characters to finally confront each other,
I let you live,
we cut to black.
and you wasted it.
And we've been using this device when we're in Seattle of day 1, day 2, day 3. And we see Abby wake up, and she's in the stadium, and we see just how massive the WLF presence here is in Seattle. And we end on Seattle, day 1, as we set up Abby's journey of what happened on those 3 days, and why she has done what she's done, how she's dealt with someone hunting her and her people.
We're used to telling good guy, bad guy stories in Hollywood. What we try and do with The Last of Us is tell people stories. And in this case, everybody, no matter which side they're on, has a strong case to be very angry at someone. And that anger comes out as violence, it comes out as retribution, it comes out as lies. And the question is, where does it all end? Can it end? And if so, how?